compared to even our last game here at home. The difference is that every guy on the field worked from the opening minute to the final minute, and the other piece is that they all won their individual duels with and without the ball. And that's a difference in when we play here at home. When we do that, we wind up dominating teams physically, technically, tactically, and psychologically. And I think today we broke that team, and to score 4 was a small amount. We probably could have scored a lot more, but great to see us get 4 goals here at home.
That was Peter Vermees talking during the post-match press conference. I'm Isaac Knopf.
I'm Ben Gartland.
And you're watching The Last Touch on the Distributor Network.
Claudio Bieler, who had been going on a month without a goal, scored a brace, and then CJ Sapong and Graham Zusi both added on goals of their own. Graham Zusi now is tied for the MLS lead in assists. Claudio Bieler tied in the MLS lead for goals, so very good production coming out of Sporting Kansas City today.
Yeah, it was really a blowout performance from Sporting Kansas City. In our podcast yesterday, I really thought Chivas was going to cause more trouble for our back line, which has given up a lot of goals in the last few matches, but it was the exact opposite of that. We shut Chivas off, and we scored 4 goals out of nothing. And really, I'd like to highlight the players that came into the lineup, if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, Peter Vermees went with a very different lineup than we're used to seeing. Iko Parsa in the place of Matt B. Michak Jerome started in the place of Chance Myers, who was out with a hamstring injury, and Benny Fieldhauser sitting on the bench, Peterson Joseph on the wing. Very different lineup. Sporting comes in, dominates Chivas USA here at Sporting Park.
Yeah, it was really great to see these players who Vermees usually doesn't give much of a chance for. Vermees always usually the stubborn coach who keeps the same lineup game after game, but we saw this game resting some players. He mentioned in the press conference Biesler had some sort of knock on his ACL area on his knee, and as was obviously mentioned, Myers had the injury too. So we had a makeshift back line with Opara and Michak Jerome, Sinovic, and Colin. And then our midfield was with Rosell and Nagamura and, who am I forgetting? Peterson Joseph.
Yes, Peterson Joseph.
Top 3, Zusi, Bieler, and Jacob Peterson, who, in my opinion, one of the men of the matches.
Yeah.
What's the plural of that? I don't know.
Men of the match.
Men of the match.
There's only one match, so men of the match. Okay. Anyways, this was the first time all season that Sporting Kansas City has had two good wingers at the same time with Claudio Bieler, and I think that really helps Claudio Bieler get into his group. Graham Zusi and Jacob Peterson were fantastic in serving up chances on a platter. Claudio Bieler finishing 2 of them. Of course, the second one was a penalty kick, but his effort to get into the box and clipped by Dan Kennedy, which ended up with a red card, was caused by some great play on the wings and in the midfield. And speaking of that, Dan Kennedy, I expected him. He just signed a big extension with Chivas USA earlier this week, comes into this game, gets scored on once, and then gets a red card to save another goal. Kennedy really looked out of character today.
Yeah, he was a little off his game, and then we saw their backup goalkeeper come in and led in 3 goals, including the penalty kick on the play he came in on. Second half, Josh Gardner comes in, makes his season appearance for Sporting Kansas City, and he had an assist on a goal, I believe, for Sapong's goal, and then Sapong with his first goal of the season. Yeah. So it was a day of first for Sporting Kansas City. Good to see all of these reserves get some time and really make a good impact. Do we want to talk about Seattle next? Or
yeah, let's talk a little bit about Seattle. Seattle is just not Seattle this year. They're coming in on Wednesday, currently sitting last in the Western Conference, and they will be missing 2 of their starters who saw straight red yesterday in their match, so they'll be suspended for that. Seattle coming in a very depleted lineup. Siggy was actually here today, scouting out Sporting Kansas City,
yes.
But in the way that Sporting played today, he's got to be very impressed and very nervous at the same time.
Yeah, I would say so. Seattle, 6 points. We're in May in Major League Soccer. They only have 6 points. A lot of their fans making up excuses about it. The truth is, they're just not playing up to their potential. Do they have potential?
Do they have potential? They're Seattle. They always have potential.
Right.
They have a very dedicated owner. They have a very dedicated fan base. They have the resources to make wins happen. Truthfully, I don't know what's going on with Seattle. I'm very surprised that how they've played this year, and I think that Sporting Kansas City will have a very good game against Seattle based on the way that both teams played this weekend. Now, this will be Seattle's first trip back to Sporting Park since the Open Cup loss last August. Do you think that some of the Seattle players who are on that team back in August last year will have revenge on their mind?
I think there is going to be a little bit of revenge on the line between both teams, really. These teams really do not like each other at all. We see former Sporting Kansas City, actually Kansas City Wizards player at the time, Eddie Johnson, making his return. We'll have that video up on, or our interview with Eddie Johnson up on our website before the match. So check that out. But it'll be a great match between two teams that don't like each other, have a lot of revenge on the line, and it'll be interesting to see how that result finishes up.
Yeah, it'll be a Wednesday night here at Sporting Park. Going to be a very loud atmosphere, I'm certain of it. The Cauldron's always extra loud whenever Seattle comes in. It's going to be a great match, and hopefully Sporting can get a result like they did tonight, although first time since 2011 that they've scored 4 goals in they've had a 4-0 victory.
Right.
I don't see them doing that again this season, although it would be very nice to see that same result against Seattle.
Right,
on
and
Wednesday.
if that's all you have, Sporting Kansas City again beat Chivas USA at home 4-0. On Wednesday, they take on the Seattle Sounders at home. That's all from us. Again, my name's Isaac Knopf. This has been Gartland, and you're watching The Last Touch on the Distributor Network.